You might think this fruit is bad, but actually, it's really good for diabetics and helps control blood sugar levels. In this video, I'm going to tell you 9 fruits that are considered off limits by many professionals and even by a lot of people who like to badmouth fruit. This ends up causing a lot of confusion. So I'm sure that many of the fruits on this list are actually excellent. If you have diabetes, you're probably avoiding these or thinking they're bad, that you can't eat them. Now, it's trendy here on the internet to talk about this, to scare people about fruit because of fructose. But actually, fructose can be consumed. What's bad is having too much fructose. If you eat 200 of these fruits I'm going to mention, then yes, you'll have an excess of fructose. Now, I'm going to show you, and you'll understand why this classification. Let's get to the 9 best fruits that you think are off limits. The criteria are going to be simplified. So for this list, to make it clear, I'm going to use net carbs. But what are net carbs? They're the carbs minus the fiber, because fiber is also a type of carbohydrate. But the carbs from fiber aren't absorbed. So when you're looking at a food or a fruit, you shouldn't look at the total carbs. You need to look at the net carbs. You have to do that subtraction. You have to take out the fiber amount. For example, if you look at the nutrition label and let's say there are 20 grams of carbs, but 11 of those are fiber. The carbs that actually matter, the ones that are absorbed, the net carbs, are 9. 20 minus 11. So you have to do this calculation, otherwise you'll end up with a bunch of wrong information and false ideas about foods. And here, I'll start with one of the fruits you probably think is off limits, papaya. Papaya. It has 7 grams of net carbs per 100 gram serving, which is excellent for people with diabetes. In other words, if you eat a serving of papaya, it won't have a big impact on your blood sugar because it has a controlled amount of sugars, fructose, and net carbs. Plus, it also has fiber that helps with digestion and controlling blood sugar levels. So, number 1 on our list here is papaya. Did you think papaya was off limits? A lot of people think that. I see this in my appointments. When I see diabetic patients, many of them say, "Oh, I can't eat papaya. I'm avoiding papaya because it's a sweeter fruit. They told me you just had to taste it. If it tastes sweet, diabetics can't eat it." And that's a big mistake. Papaya is actually a great ally. And every 100 grams has 7 grams of net carbs. It's good for you to remember these numbers because later I'll talk about 6 fruits that can raise your blood sugar levels more. Those are not fruits that might even lower your blood sugar, but on the contrary, ones you really need to watch out for. Deal? So the best and worst fruits? Many people think some of the worst ones are actually good fruits. See, that's where a lot of confusion comes in. That's why so many diabetics can't manage their blood sugar levels. But once you have knowledge, the right information, not just any information, everything gets easier. And the second fruit, which is also considered off limits, is watermelon. You probably thought this one was off limits until this video, right? If you thought that, and this video is helping you out, go ahead and hit like. Let's set a goal of 10,000 likes. And if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you can keep following along. Videos about diabetes, hormones, thyroid, cholesterol, and health in general. And why is watermelon on the list of the best fruits? Because in every 100 gram serving, you get 7 grams in net carbs. A lot of people mistakenly claim that watermelon has a high glycemic index carbohydrate, that it will raise your blood sugar levels more. The glycemic index of watermelon is 72. What does that mean? When you eat a food, how much is that food going to raise your blood sugar? The higher it is, the higher the glycemic index. So really, watermelon does have a carbohydrate that'll raise your blood sugar more. It has a high glycemic index, higher than most. But the big point here is that the amount of this carbohydrate is small. You can see that every 100 grams has 7 grams of carbohydrates. So yes, watermelon is a good fruit for people with diabetes, not to mention all the other benefits. For example, it helps with blood pressure, plus it has antioxidants and vitamins. You also stay hydrated when you eat watermelon because a big part of its composition is water. So yes, watermelon is a forbidden fruit. Of course, you're not going to eat 3 whole watermelons, but 1 or even 2 servings of watermelon is actually beneficial for people with diabetes because of the low amount of carbohydrates. Now, if you eat a lot, then yes, it will increase, okay? Number 3, peach. Peach is also considered a forbidden fruit by many people. Look, these are just facts that go against what a lot of people say. Peach is also a fruit you can have, and in every 100 grams of peach, we have 8 grams of net carbs. That's already factoring out the fiber. Always keep that in mind, because if you just look at the nutrition label, you won't understand this video. You have to do the calculation I showed at the beginning. So yes, peach is a fruit you can have. It also has a sweet taste. That's why a lot of people end up avoiding peaches, thinking it's a bad fruit.
All right.
And number 4 is orange. Oranges are also among the best fruits for diabetics, and many people think oranges aren't good. Also because of their sweet flavor. And here, I'm talking about eating the orange itself, because that way you eat it with the fiber. And then we have a carbohydrate, which is better absorbed, improves digestion, you get all the vitamins like vitamin C from the orange, and for every 100 grams of orange, we have 9 grams of carbohydrates. Remember, here we're talking about eating a whole fruit. Orange juice, on the other hand, is actually one of the worst choices for people with diabetes. Fruit juices in general should be avoided by diabetics. Why is that? Because you remove the fiber and you concentrate the carbohydrates even more. So it's more concentrated, sweeter, and the carbohydrate has a higher and more concentrated glycemic index. In other words, it's exactly what someone with diabetes shouldn't do. Just so you have an idea, a small glass of orange juice, about 200 milliliters, has the equivalent of 20 to 25 grams of carbohydrates. So it's much better to eat an orange, which has 9 grams of net carbs and will keep you feeling fuller. It'll keep you from eating more later, taking in excess calories or eating more carbs. So it's going to help you in this process. It's worth eating the orange with the pulp every time. And fruit number 5, which is also considered off limits by many sources, but is excellent for people with diabetes, is cantaloupe. Every 100 grams of cantaloupe has 7 grams of net carbs, which is excellent. And it helps control blood sugar levels. A lot of people also end up avoiding cantaloupe, but know that it's a great fruit, especially if you have diabetes. And fruit number 6, this one is one of the best. For people with diabetes, one of the best foods in the world is also strawberries. Every 100 grams of strawberries has 5 grams of carbs. And strawberries also contain anthocyanin, which has been widely studied for its benefits. For your health, they're rich in antioxidants and are part of the berry family. There are several studies about berries, especially strawberries, and their health benefits. And strawberries have an extra benefit, besides all the ones I already mentioned. The carbs they contain, which are already low, are also low glycemic index. So it won't spike your blood sugar levels, it'll actually help you. I really like strawberries. Do you like them? And fruit number 7 is the blackberry. This one doesn't get talked about much. I really like blackberries in some regions. I know it's hard to find blackberries, but in some places they're actually pretty easy to get. And you can eat blackberries if you like them, because every 100 grams has only 5 grams of net carbs, which is excellent for people with diabetes. Blackberries also have a lot of antioxidants that fight free radicals. A lot of people talk about blackberries as a way to fight cancer. That's not true, okay? Blackberries are for you to get antioxidants. And studies show that people who consume more antioxidants have a lower chance of developing cancer. So it acts as a protective factor, not as a treatment. So don't fall for that talk either about blackberries and cancer. That's why. Antioxidants help reduce your risk of getting cancer. Got it? Number 8 is the pear. Pear is also not talked about much. Pears have fiber. Every 100 grams of pear has 9 grams of net carbs. It's also a great option for people with diabetes. And number 9, another excellent fruit for people with diabetes is guava. Every 100 grams of guava has 8 grams of net carbs. And also, the carbs that remain are low glycemic index. And they won't significantly impact your blood sugar levels, as long as you eat a moderate amount. Always keep that in mind. And now, which fruits should you really be careful with? Which ones require the most caution? Because here, there's a whole scientific basis that I'm going to explain to you. And you'll be able to compare so you can understand this list. Once you understand, it becomes really easy for you to choose the best foods. All right? What are the 5 fruits? The first fruit I want to highlight here is the date. Do you like eating dates? Dates, per 100 grams, have 68 grams of net carbs. Look, that's already subtracting the fiber, 68 grams. So compare it, for example, with strawberries, which have 5, or with guava, which has 8. Look, with a 100-gram serving of dates, the same amount, okay? Here I'm talking about the same quantity. You're going to have a much higher amount of net carbs. It's going to have a bigger impact on your blood sugar. A lot of people advocate for dates. They say it's good for your health. Yeah, it does have its benefits. I acknowledge that. But here, I'm talking specifically about controlling blood sugar levels. You need to be especially careful with dates. Number 2 is mango. Mango, per 100 grams, has 14 grams of net carbs. So if you eat the same portion, for example, of melon, you'll get twice the amount of net carbs. It's also going to have a bigger impact on your blood sugar. It's better for you to eat papaya than mango, for example. Remember, you need to be extra careful. It's not that it's forbidden. If you really like it, you can have it. But know that it's going to have a bigger impact on your blood sugar levels. Number 3, banana. Every 100 grams of banana has 21 grams of net carbs. In other words, you'd have to eat 3 times as much papaya to match the amount in 100 grams of banana. 300 grams of papaya is equivalent to 100 grams of banana. An impact on blood sugar because of the net carbs. And then a lot of people also say, just like with dates, that bananas are good for your health, that they have antioxidants. Yes, just a reminder, folks, let's not forget the topic of this video. Here, specifically, we're talking about controlling blood sugar levels. If you're diabetic, you need to pay special attention to bananas. That's why I explained it. Every 100 grams has 21 grams of carbohydrates. And number 4 is grapes. Grapes are rich in antioxidants and polyphenols. If you're diabetic, know that you'll need to pay special attention. In every 100 grams of grapes, we have 18 grams in net carbs. They'll also have a bigger impact on your blood sugar levels. You'll be able to eat a smaller amount of grapes, if you want, compared to the ones at the top of the list. Deal? And number 5, another fruit you also need to pay more attention to if you're diabetic is figs. Every 100 grams of figs has 17 grams of carbohydrates. I'm going to tell you about some other fruits here that also, you need to be more careful with them. These fruits are more uncommon, but in some regions they're extremely common, like jackfruit, sugar apple, and custard apple. Diabetics also need to be more careful with these fruits. Every 100 grams of these fruits contains, on average, between 20 and 22 grams of net carbohydrates. So be careful. If you're diabetic, you need to be extra cautious. What other fruit would you like to know about? Just a reminder, I'll always answer with the number of net carbohydrates, since that's what really matters for controlling blood sugar levels. Ask your questions here, because I always enjoy reading and responding. Let me know which city you're watching this video from, and what part of the world you're in. I'm speaking for Port Alegre. Now I'm going to leave you a recommendation to watch, a video where I talked about vegetables. Did you know there are also a lot of vegetables that can raise your blood sugar levels, and others that can help by lowering glucose? In this video here, I also rank the best vegetables for diabetics. Take care. See you next time.